For those of you who are not following the news around trans athlete participation in high school sports, there's an update. There's a recent fight with the Trump administration and the state of California over transgender athlete participation, which centers on 16-year-old AB Hernandez, a transgender girl who has qualified for multiple events in the upcoming California Interscholastic Federation State Championship. If California doesn't comply, Trump threatens to revoke federal funding for anybody who allows this participation. In response, the CIF has announced a pilot policy that would allow cisgender girls who narrowly miss qualifying due to the inclusion of transgender athletes to compete in the championship. So Hernandez remains eligible to compete, but her results will be scored separately. Obviously, Governor Newsom says this is reasonable, respectful way to navigate complex issues, but as you can imagine, the policy has faced criticism from multiple sides, some arguing it doesn't go far enough to ensure fairness, while others contend it is unfairly targeting and isolating transgender athletes. Regardless of how you feel about it, I just want to tell a quick story that comes to my mind, which is about a mythical city called Omelas. And in Omelas, it is a utopian city where it's always sunny and the world is wonderful. And it is only able to be that way because there is a single child who is tortured, filthy, left in the dark, and just utterly neglected by the society. And people in Omelas have this idyllic, wonderful life. And then when they come of age, they are made aware of this fact that there's a suffering child at the heart of their society, and that's what enables their utopia to exist. That the suffering of this one person is really responsible for this utopian state that they have. And so then the people of Omelas are given a choice. Do they either say, okay, I don't care, I'm sorry, your suffering is too bad, but our enjoyment is too good? That's option one. Option two, they stay and they fight. Or option three, they choose to walk away. And who knows what the world looks like outside. And I wanted to raise this story because I think that while there's a lot about this policy that CIF is putting in place that I think is very interesting, because I would rather a trans athlete continue to enjoy the right to compete than not at all. And yet, in another way, it does feel a little bit like walking away from the city of Omelas, and that there is still a community of people that is being targeted and scapegoated and harmed by by this legislation and by this anti-trans kind of movement. And again, regardless of how you feel about fairness or what the policy should be, the reality is that there are transgender kids who are harmed and hurting because of this entire political moment in time. And we as a country are being sold the story of Omelas, that if we exclude and hurt and harm trans kids, we're going to have this wonderful utopia. Sport is going to be this safe, fair, and wonderful place for everybody. And the truth is that there is no such thing as a utopia. Um, we have to fight every single day to make each other's experiences better and more inclusive and more inviting. And I do think that even when policy gets put in place that doesn't sort of maximize the harm, it is doing less harm, and there are things to value and appreciate about that. Uh, you're still walking away from Omelas, and you're still sort of failing to acknowledge and address the harm that is at the heart of this issue. Um, so I'm really conflicted. In some ways, I feel excited and great that California is finding a nuanced way of sort of stopping the onslaught of anti-trans, uh, this sort of movement that swept throughout youth sports. On the other hand, I do think that there's a bigger, harder conversation here that we should not blink and turn away from. And this, in some way, feels like California is. Let me know what you think.